Round one. Fight!
Hey guys, welcome to Tier Ranker Fights. This is our part 2 of the best and worst movie remakes and reboots. So last week, we kind of realized that we're definitely gonna have to do a part 2. We'll see about a part 3, but there is a ton of movie remakes to cover. So we're gonna get into some pretty fun debates today. But I'm just gonna go around the horn and introduce everyone. So we got Chris Engel. How you doing?
Doing good. Ready for another knockdown, drag-out fight over Allison. Oh, that's not this week?
Right. That was last week.
Okay.
And we got JD. How's it going?
You never go full burden. Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. And we got Chris Diaz jumping in with us this week. How's it going?
Doing good. Excited to argue about reboots. Some really good ones, some really bad that made me want to go scream in a corner for 20 minutes.
Awesome. Yeah, I thought we were only going to have one Chris today, but because my co-host is also named Chris, so we had potential for 3 Chris's, but he got called into work today, but we still got 2. And then we got Carl Sherlock. How's it going?
Hey everybody. Still reeling from last week's Alice in Wonderland debate, but I'm all ready to go for another one.
Yeah, but didn't quite expect that one, but it happened.
We can all agree though that like Dracula was the real debate.
True,
Yeah,
that
I missed that one. I had to cut out a little early, and I missed that one.
I
don't
have a
know
lot of opinion about Alice in Wonderland happy and not on this week.
Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and try to bring up this tier ranker chart here.
Disney remakes are definitely a hot topic for me.
Oh yeah.
All right, so this is where we're at. So basically, for those who haven't watched before, we got S tier. It goes all the way down to G. We're only allowing 10 movies in the S tier, and then every other category whatever you want to call it, every other ranking can only have 20. So yeah, and so this is what we've ranked so far. I'll just kind of do a slow scroll so you can kind of see where we're at. And then down here we've got all kinds of stuff. So I mean, we'll kind of bounce around. I mean, I like to kind of maybe start at the top, pull a couple, and then if you guys see any that you really want to talk about, you can just call one out and we'll just go for it. So. But yeah, there's a lot, as you can see it. So yeah, so basically here, let's see, and I believe this one is a remake. You can call me out if I'm wrong. Sweet November. I thought that I saw that on a remake list. If it's not, we can just throw it in. Haven't seen because I'm not sure.
I haven't seen it, so on you guys.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
I'm doing a quick search on it.
Yeah, so we'll just throw it up there.
It is technically based on a 1968 film, so yeah, but never watched it.
Yeah, there's a couple on here I never seen, so
that's why we have the never seen it.
Yep. Yeah. So next one.
I want to talk
So
about.
next Oh yeah, if you got one, yeah,
I mean,
you just call it
Captain
out.
America: First Avenger. I'd like to. It's on the first row. I want to
Yeah.
talk about first row. It's still first
Ooh, I didn't even think it would consider a.
because there were a whole bunch of Captain
one, right?
America movies that happened before it.
Captain America. That
I want to talk about
If we're going Captain America,
Yeah.
it's better than Man of Steel. Man of Steel needs to go above that.
yeah, at the very
It's definitely
loose.
in the A or B range for me.
Here's what I'll
For me,
I rewatched this recently. I really, really like this movie. Like,
Same
Oh, it's
here.
great.
I would want to put it in the A, maybe even F.
I'm
The only reason why I won't put it in the S range is that middle hat that feel cut out, like a whole bunch of stuff missing from when they do the montage stuff.
But it's a long war. Let's be honest. Long war.
I feel like you needed to actually show that montage because you need to show that they have been together for a long period of time, and there was no other way you were going to be able to fit it in a 2-hour movie.
right.
It just felt like the film
willing to
dragged
forgive
a
that
little
one.
bit in that middle half, so that they pick up like when the final half.
Yeah, I'm willing to.
Yeah, I really feel with the first Captain America, we're talking a low A, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
agree.
saying that as a knock on it. It's sequels by far.
Yes,
you're
that
right
is true. That is.
But
I do think it's better than Man of Steel, though.
Yeah, it's probably better
Let
than
me
Man of
think.
Steel.
well, let's look at
No.
it. Okay, origin story to origin story here. Okay, well,
Yeah.
But like I had to compare Final Battle. I think Man of Steel
You
had
know,
much better.
I don't. I think it's right behind Man of Steel. Here's what I'll give Man of Steel. Why I put Man of Steel over first Avenger. There is something to be say. I think Zod is a more memorable villain than was it
Red Skull.
than
Red
Skull.
Skull.
He's a great villain, but he does fall into like the kind of like Hugo Weaving does a great part, like does great with what the role is, but it's very much written like the other, Marvel villains, and there was a reason that they said that Marvel villains were forgettable. It was the heroes that were more, have more of the spotlight.
Well, this is kind of interesting because you're dealing with actually two very similar characters in the Marvel universe and the DC universe. You are Superman and Captain America are actually very, very, very similar guys. Very similar moral statures. A rise to power. I mean, Superman, he comes to Earth, he has his powers at that point, but still this idea of going from just this innocent, weak, physically individual into their abilities and choosing to do good with it and to defend others.
Yeah.
They're very, very similar films. I think where the split happens here is that overall, Captain America is just more interesting throughout. And I love me some Superman. Superman, my number one hero, always. But as a film, I really enjoy Red Skull just that little bit more. And Red Skull, to me, even though he hasn't been around as long as Zod, I think Zod predates him just a little bit in the mythology. Red Skull's more interesting. The makeup was amazing. The acting was amazing in this. All of it really good. So I think it goes above Man of Steel. Not by much.
Yeah, it's not by much. I disagree. I disagree with you that Red Skull, but it's just I think it comes down to personal preference, right? I think Zod is far more interesting in how he relates to Superman and how they tied that together. Like, because this is the first time he's ever really seen somebody from his world that's alive, and before he thinks he's the only Kryptonian, and I feel like there's this kind of interesting dichotomy that they establish between Zod and Superman, and I kind of actually the part where he like has to kill him, and then he screams like a primal scream. Like you feel like he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. Like, and you know he didn't. I was surprised about how much I really related to like the Sod and Superman relationship, and I don't think Captain America: First Avenger has that same dichotomy. I mean, that same kind of relationship. I think
what I will say
Hugo
is
Weaving does the best with what he's given, but it's underwritten. That's kind of my.
And with Toby Jones, like he does a really good job at the henchman, but very underwritten. Well,
Go ahead, Sherlock. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yep. What I will say is, what you the critical. We all loved these two films because this is probably our genre and we're all into that type of thing. But if you're looking at the public en masse, a lot of people, and it's a lot of people, did not like the fact that Superman killed. And Superman had that primal scream and all that. He didn't like that. People hated that. So you have to take that into consideration, I think, because yes, we liked it because we're all fans of this thing, but for the casual fan, that's not.
I think it's actually the opposite. I think it's actually flipped. Actually, I think the diehard fans did not like it because that is not their Superman, and we're in the minority of the diehard fans who actually liked it because Superman never kills.
Yeah, but I'm
agreeing with you. I like that. I like that kind of thing. I think it's actually the flip. Casual fans didn't really care about that.
As someone who just watched the original Superman 2 for the first time this past year, he technically killed Zod in the cut that was theatrical release. He threw him down the hole through a lot of people.
Actually, no. He reverses. If you're watching if you're talking about the Donner cut, which is the one where he falls down a ditch, or did you watch the Richard Ruster cut?
I watched the one that was on HBO Max.
Okay, so you watched the Richard Ruster cut. I can't speak to that one. That was the one with the big S.
Yes. Oh. Yeah. But that's a whole nother level.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Problem. That's a whole nother thing. But
dealing with Captain America is something very interesting between your hero and your villain, where they're definitely this polar representations of good and evil. Which during World War II, that's what this was. It was good versus evil. Schmidt is a Nazi. He is about power, about taking over, about destruction. That's what he is. And Captain America, he's an ally. He's a nobody from Brooklyn who, becomes powerful and is good and is pure. This dichotomy is perfect for this.
Yeah,
an extreme level of complication in Schmidt's character. And I argue that Schmidt's character is far more interesting, especially far down the line when we see him again in
we're talking about Captain America.
I understand that.
We are not talking about where I agree and disagree with you. Yes, there's a dichotomy of like he's a Nazi and then this is nobody from Brooklyn. But then he falls into the same Marvel MCU trope where eventually it all comes down to the evil plan and blah, 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 blah. And also, he's not really a Nazi. Like, he goes, like, he portrays the Nazis and, like, does his own thing. So it really, like,
semantics on that one.
What I was saying there is
eventually it does come down to he has an evil plan and screw everybody else. Like every other kind of, I agree that Hugo Weaving gives an excellent performance and puts more than what's on the page there, but it makes it more interesting than it should be. But in the end, the writing does him a discreditable disservice there.
I would give the same argument there when you're comparing Peggy Carter to Lois Lane. I think Peggy Carter in these two films, not in the history
I think
of
Lois
all
Lane.
the other things.
It's
I
very
think
close
Peggy
to me.
Carter's written better than Lois
Yeah.
Lane in
I,
Man of
it's
Steel.
very.
And
See,
the last scene with her and Steve hit me more than anything with Lois and Clark and Man of Steel.
No,
Like, when they talked
this
about
is
the
where I
dance.
disagree. Okay, this is where I kind of like. It's very close for me. I love Peggy. I do. I love Peggy. To me, what I love about Man of Steel is she is separate to Clark Kent. It's not about Clark Kent. For it, like she's not tied to Clark Kent. Where I think Peggy Carter, while she is her own woman, at the end of the day, she's still kind of at the end of the day is kind of waiting for Cap and waiting for. It's very close for me.
Peggy
But I
Carter
love
was Peggy Carter was
she's her
already
own
one of the heads of
independent woman,
Shield.
and she figures out Clark Kent's identity. This is another point of contention I know that's between us that from last week. But I love that she found out that Clark Kent was Superman very quickly.
If we're talking adding
female
leads into this, then Peggy is far more interesting than Lois. No offense, Lois. Peggy is not the damsel in distress. Lois tends to come off that
not
way.
in Man of Steel.
Hold on. Can you let me finish?
Okay.
I was going to say, even though in Man of Steel she doesn't get into any major scrapes, there are a couple of times that Lois has to be saved. Peggy is always on top of things. She is, getting herself taken care of. She is. Come on. This is the woman who's...
I mean, yes, but then on the other hand, he still at the end of the day is left pining for Captain America,
What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? What's wrong with love?
Nothing wrong with that at all.
To me,
nothing wrong with that.
But when we're comparing it to Lois and Clark, Lois is as I said, her own woman. And my argument against she gets herself into trouble and she needs to be saved. I actually kind of like it. It was all because she was trying to chase a story, which I think is, yes, she may have had to get saved, but was she really in that much trouble?
Yes. Take the scene where she's on the scout ship and the drone is looking right at her. She gonna get her ass killed if Clark doesn't save her.
Yeah, but that goes back into reporter and chasing the story and integrity and how I feel like there's some real world parallels there that they actually is kind of interesting there, that she's willing to go into the danger, potentially killing herself to figure out what the conspiracy and what's actually going on. That's what I kind of like.
She's a hero of herself. I don't see the Lois Lane TV show. I see the Peggy Carter TV show. Nobody cares about Lois anymore.
Moving
on.
There would be
move on.
I think
we've been 18 minutes into one movie.
I would say that. I want to go back I want to go back at that. There's no Lois Lane TV show. Because there was no
Superman and Lois Lane.
They had no television. They had no TV shows then. They had no they didn't want to. DC had a mandate back then, and if somebody was in a movie, they couldn't have their own TV show. So that's not Amy Adams' fault. That is 100% DC's fault for not because there should have been a Daily Planet. They were doing it now. There would 100% have been a Amy Adams, Lois Lane streaming TV show. There would have been. I'm sorry.
This is what it comes down to very, very simply. The characters in Man of Steel and Captain America, I agree. They're interesting. All right. Lois Lane is not bad inherently. In fact, I think she's a better Lois Lane than some Lois Lanes we've had in the past.
Agree.
No problem. But at the end of the day, Peggy Carter by herself is more interesting, and it's proven by the fact that she's been given more focus in the world, inside of their own very own world. Lois Lane is not that way. You can have Peggy Carter exist
I
without Captain
disagree.
America.
Again, I
You
disagree.
cannot have Lois Lane without Superman, and that says something about her character. It's not bad. It's too dependent on that. For that reason, Captain America makes it just above Man of Steel.
No, I disagree with you that like the Peggy Carter is more more integral to the universe than Lois Lane, because specifically I know you're bringing in other movies into the again strictly, but Lois Lane, if Zack Snyder had been able to direct Justice League the way he wanted to, Lois Lane was a big piece that like we need to save. Well, like the flashback is like you could have saved. So Lois was going to be a big key to whatever his Justice League was going to be.
But again, what you're saying, you can't add other films. You have to look at this.
No. But you did. You 100% did when
what
you
I
said,
did was show.
We move on for the Lois
these films. The performances in these films proved what is built on and what it is, what isn't. Lois is not enough. Peggy is. I
disagree with you, but this is coming down to personal preference, so it's fine.
I would just end it with this. I feel more emotional during watching Fritz Vengeance than I do Man of Steel.
Yeah,
I get I'm in the minority. It's fine. We'll leave it as it is. But yeah.
Hey, how about the Ring, guys? Isn't the Ring amazing?
No.
I mean, I
feel like that there's been way more complaints about the Man of Steel that I've heard from the general public than Captain America. Really, the only complaints I've ever heard is some people don't like the Red Skull, and some people find it a little slow or a little boring. And at times. I don't really hear any other complaints about Captain America. I don't.
But here's my counter argument to that one. The people who love Man of Steel really love Man of Steel, and the people who really hate Man of Steel really hate Man of Steel. I feel like there's been more discussion about Man of Steel that there's ever been about Captain America First Avenger. And to me that means something. To me the movies that are
for Captain America
talked about are the ones that are far more interesting and have far more relevancy than the other one, than like Captain America First Avenger. I'm sorry. Like I love Cap. As said, I wanted to talk about it because I actually really liked the movie, but I think it is kind of like no one really talks about it that much. Whereas Man of Steel, people do, and we're still talking about it.
I feel like it's becoming more appreciated now than it was.
Talking about it. That means something.
Here's something for me.
Well, the reason we're still talking about Man of Steel and not Captain America is because you're talking about the DCU in whole, and there just hasn't been as many DCEU films as there has been MCU films.
To me, it's more. It has to do. Man of Steel, I think, made a lot of choices that people didn't either liked or didn't like it. Like there was like they made these bold choices, and I feel like Captain America: First Avenger is more, as we said, an MCU origin story. That's not a bad thing. That's what it is.
There hasn't been a sequel of Man of Steel as well. That's the thing.
Choices with the lore. They made some interesting choices with relationships. More modern takes on certain characters. To me that sticks more to me. But again, I'm in the minority, so as I said, we've been talking about this for a while. It is what it is. I just
leave it at that.
Well, here's something. Me personally, I think Captain America is better than all the other movies in the A tier. That's just me.
No.
What do you guys think? Would it rise above?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine there. I think it's fine there.
Think it's good?
All right. Dark Knight.
I mean, I'm happy with it there, but I mean, I would personally, I like it better than anything that's there, but that's just me. We can move on.
I like it better than Dracula. You can put it ahead of Dracula.
No.
I mean, I'd be okay with that.
You don't need to go back on that.
Next movie.
I don't like
Next
Dracula.
movie.
Put it ahead of Dracula.
Oh.
All right, so
Oh,
I'm
wait,
just gonna
can-
grab one. So
Please.
here we have Sabrina. So
I
I
have not seen it.
I have
I
also
have not seen it either. Have any of
Nope.
you guys seen it?
No.
All right, we can throw it in. I haven't seen.
And I know
No.
it's supposedly really good. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah,
So
I
can
have a
just-
G movie here for you here.
Yes.
yeah.
Let's go
Yeah.
Point Break. G.
Oh yeah.
Throw it in G.
Yeah.
We don't need to have a
Where is
discussion.
Point Break?
Just
Where?
get rid
Yeah.
of it.
I,
Second
Okay,
row.
okay. Yeah,
Third
I'd
is
say,
I
second
also want to talk
I think it's a
about.
G movie. I think it's totally horrible.
Absolute
I own it
trash.
just because somebody bought it for me as a gift, but I would never pay money
Yeah.
to watch it.
I would also.
I would agree. Right at the end.
I think there's something that has potential to be S tier.
What's that?
John Carpenter's remake of The Thing.
Yes.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that is 100%
I
could.
think it's S tier.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's
a
an S
perfect
you
movie,
you
doesn't it?
make it.
Sound of a-
Just by saying it, you make an
Where is
intriguing
it?
argument.
It is. I just saw
Where
it
is
for
the
the first
thing?
time.
Oh,
this
it's
past
down
year,
further.
and
It's down
loved
further.
it.
You got to scroll down.
Oh
a
yeah,
bit.
here it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'd maybe say top of A instead of S.
Yeah,
Top of A.
I think it's. I think by
I put it
the
in S tier,
lack
honestly.
of
Like, I think
the
it is
lack
an
of S tier, I think it 100% needs to be an S tier. Like to me, that is a.
I would agree.
It
It
is
is
a
a fantastic.
You know what? We've disagreed on some things already. I won't on this. No, I won't. Because, like, as a horror film, as a John Carpenter
Yes.
film, this is one of John Carpenter's best.
Yes.
And the tropes that are involved in here, and I think tropes not as a bad thing, are used more and more down the line now. And this film starts it, and it's got the atmosphere, it's got the music. I mean,
the
Practical
tension is
effects,
just
yeah,
like
and the practical effects on this still
Yeah.
look really
Yes.
good.
yes,
Yep.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't even point it out here. I would put it above it, personally. For me.
Okay, I'm gonna agree.
I'd be
with
okay
him.
with that.
I'm gonna agree with him because again, it's
fine
just
with
it. I think this
Yeah,
is
I
where
agree.
practical
I agree also.
effects kind of make it a little bit better than the CGI. No offense to it, and
Yeah.
CGI it was good. I love it.
I love
This
it.
is scarier.
Yeah.
In its
Yeah.
that is the 80s. It's the 80s, but it's good. Yeah, S tier, no
Yeah,
problem.
but I just recently watched this for one of my other shows, Blind Spot. I only saw The Thing about 3 months ago for the first time, and I loved it. Like,
Damn.
we tried to point out some
Did
negative.
you watch
Great.
Kristen
Yeah, but
Harloff?
nothing negative for the movie. Not a
I
single.
watch it for
I
my
can't
home
believe
movie and everything.
like
for every
Christian
holiday.
Karloff has not seen this movie. It's
I know.
he
I know we got to call him out on that.
Yeah.
Christian Harloff.
It was an
Tell me
amazing.
you watch the
like,
show, so watch The Thing.
It's
now.
more thriller than horror, which is like hard to do. Like it's like I really
Right.
love this, like the way it builds the tension and like the kind of cabin fever, like everybody turning against each other. It's just fantastic.
I have
So-
another.
It is.
Go for it.
All
I
right.
have another film
Go on.
that could be on the S tier. Do we have the Go with the Dragon tattoo on the list?
Of what?
The Go with the Dragon tattoo.
Girl with
Oh
the dragon.
no, that's what I should have added. I totally spaced that one. So
No, well, we're gonna get. I feel like we're gonna have
Pretty
a
good.
part 3 to this. So
Yeah,
I
but-
feel like that's well.
Yeah, if we have a part 3, I'll
Ain't
throw
that
it on.
fun?
Well, you mentioned earlier a G-rated film. How about literally a G-rated film? Well,
What's that?
maybe not actually PG, but the 101 Dalmatians. Is
Right.
rated-
That's my childhood you're attacking.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Why did they so many
Yeah.
other different-
Same
Here's
here.
the thing,
I
like,
think it's pretty bad. I would put it in like.
No.
No!
No.
I'd put it- I like it.
hold on. This is honestly what Disney needed to do more for its remakes, where you're telling
It
a
was
story,
cheesy.
but you're making it that little bit more modern, that little newer.
Mhm.
And
Glenn Close was
Glenn
so-
Close's Cruella
Glenn
de
Yeah.
Vil
Close was
is
great as
Mwah, chef's
Cruella
kiss.
though.
this to me is
I would
high
say-
B
Alright.
tier. It's high
the
B
thing.
tier.
Top
That's
of
the
C.
thing.
Top of C.
It's the
I put
thing.
it
They were pretty
up-
cheesy. Like I don't like it that much.
It can be. I think it's bottom of B. Like it's really not.
Bottom of B.
It's better than it gets credit for. It took a modern take. I like Jeff Bridges in it. Like Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it above
Glenn Close's Cruella
Beauty and the
de Vil
Beast.
is
Jeff Daniels.
fantastic.
Like I wouldn't
Jeff
put it
Daniels,
above.
not Jeff Bridges.
See,
Sorry, Jeff Daniels. It was
the only thing is that like some of it is very 90s. Like he's a video game developer, and you look at the kind of the things they're doing, and it's like it's a little dated. But throw all that aside for the rest of it, the relationship between him and Mrs. Darling, I can't remember her name. Anyway. Thank you. But there's charm. It's very charming.
Yeah.
The dogs,
Anita.
the real dogs. That's interesting. Like
Yes.
these dogs are so good.
I would put it. I really think it should be bottom of B tier, but you know.
I mean, and also
I can
Hugh Laurie
concede
is
to that,
really funny in the horror.
Well, I wouldn't want to put it above anything in C tier to me. That's just what I think. But I mean,
I think it's way better than Beauty and the Beast. It's far more engaging.
Yeah.
And the whole it's apples. It's two totally different things. I have a hard time with.
While we're on
Are you putting it? Are you honestly putting it on the same level as the likes of Wonder Woman and Little Shop of Horrors?
I put it on the same level as Taking of Pelham.
No,
I say
it is, but
the top.
I say top of C.
What about that? Yeah.
You know, like look, we put Freaky Friday up here. Okay, same company.
Yeah, I don't know. I missed that one. I would not have put it in B. I would argue against that.
To me,
as a man, as somebody who watched this as a kid who has a family who has also watched this numerous times, it still holds up. And
yes,
we complain about our villains. This is one of the best Disney villain portrayals they have ever created. That woman is Cruella de Vil.
Yes.
No question about it. And
yes.
look at her. She's the main part of the poster. Cruella de Vil is the focus of this film. It really is. And that doesn't hurt it.
You and me are...
I mean, sadly, I heard it when it came to the sequel to that.
To me, me and Chris have had our disagreements. I am 100% in agreement with him. I don't know if it's good as Wonder Woman or Little Shop of Horrors, but it's definitely on the same level
I'm okay with it being lower. I think it's higher than that. I would be okay with it being lower.
Then realistically, if it's not, as you were saying there, JD, if it's not on the same level as Little Shop of Horrors and Wonder Woman, should Freaky Friday and Taking a Pelham 123 be down in C?
No.
No. Again, we're talking levels here. Like we're talking levels of B tier, right? So basically, Little Shop of Horrors and Little Shop of Horrors and Wonder Woman are the top of B tier, and then you put, Freaky Friday, and Taking a Pelham right 2-3 are below it, and then I'd say just like a smidge behind it, a smidge behind Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 is 101 Dalmatians. So there are even levels to these tier. Like to me, Titanic is not on the level of Man of Steel or Captain America.
I would argue too, in terms of Disney remakes, this is far better than the majority of the Disney remakes that are done now. That is only one exception. There is only one in my book.
I think that better than.
Well, we're talking about that one exception. I think we should actually talk about that one next.
Is it Jungle Book?
Yeah, Jungle Book.
I'd argue Aladdin is better as well.
Better than that.
And also, I want to point out,
Aladdin is not better. Aladdin is not better.
Cinderella and Pete Dragon also really good.
So these movies have the potential to move up and down if they're teetering on the tier. They're only allowing 20 in each one, and eventually they'll fill up. So they have the potential to move up.
We're just talking about right now. So let's talk about Jungle Book.
Jungle Book. Yeah, let's talk
Jungle Book. I think is a movie that I would say is arguably better than the original.
Yes.
Arguably,
and I like Jungle Book.
Pretty close to me.
But to me, it never made sense that he would leave the jungle at the end of the film. And this one, you understood the fear of the jungle. The jungle was a very terrifying
in the original,
thing.
Him leaving, that's kind of in line with the original book. That was
Yeah.
just always kind of in that line. And mind you, the similarities between any of these movies and the original novel is
It's razor. I don't think that means
That
anything.
being said, the original Jungle Book, while I appreciate its historical significance as the last film that Walt Disney worked with,
Yeah.
and as beautiful as it is, it's a beautiful film. This just blew my mind away. Technically,
Yes.
storytelling, and yet still
John Favreau didn't make it.
integrating
No, it wasn't
all
John
of
Favreau,
those
was it?
elements
It was
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
Favreau.
from the
It was, yeah.
original
John
and
Favreau.
making it his own. This is the top Disney remake.
Yes.
Questions
Yes.
asked.
It is. Well, to me, this is you.
I go
the
back and forth
fear-
between
The fear of the jungle is something that came across in this movie that never came across in the normal Jungle Book.
Yeah,
The
I'd agree.
jungle is a scary place, and I don't, there was a little bit of tension in the other, the original Jungle Book animated movie, but it was more about, oh, we're having a good time with Baloo and these characters, and woo, King Louie. Speaking of King Louie, the casting on this film.
Oh, the
is
casting was
amazing.
unbelievable.
Yes.
It is
Yeah,
Idris Elba
bar
was phenomenal. as
Christopher
shit.
I
Walken
was a
is
little
King
nervous
Louie
about
as Chef's
Walken
Kiss.
as King Louis, but then I saw what they did with him, and I was like, all right, I kind of buy this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going with
Idris
it.
There is
Elba
one
was-
thing. There is one thing I want to bring up. There is one thing I want to bring up while we're talking about the casting list and Jungle Book. We can go back to Jungle Book there, but I think A is a good position for it.
Yeah.
Around about the same time, we got Mowgli as well, and that
Mowgli is
I
not
did not
great.
even
rubbish.
see that.
That
Yeah,
was
it was not good.
rubbish. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
a great cast, but they didn't pull it off at all. I know we have that actually on the list there as well, and I'd put that
Anything about
way
Where's-
down,
Yeah.
way down.
anything about
Yeah.
Jungle Book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, and the fact that they filmed this movie completely on a soundstage and made it look like you're in this whole other world in the
It's-
jungle. And
The
I've never
only
seen anything.
real
Oh,
thing in there is the kid. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Anything
That
about
kid,
Jungle
if he
Book.
can actually keep going, he'll be a great actor one day.
Yeah,
This,
seriously.
the casting director was, I think, every casting choice. Bill Murray is Baloo. Like
Right. That's
Ben
good.
Kingsley is, I think it's
Bagheera.
Hello.
Bagheera.
Gara.
Hello.
Bagheera. Scarlett Johansson is Ka.
Yeah, I like that they made coffee.
We were talking about it a bit already, but Christopher Walken is King Louis is Chef's Kiss.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
right. That was
And the
great.
thing is, Walken's a performer, so the fact that he kind of sings songs "I Want to Be Like You"
Yes.
actually works for him. It really does.
Right. It does.
Yes.
And by the
And-
way, if you want to hear him sing it, listen to the end credits, and you'll hear Christopher Walken actually sing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. I
Well,
wouldn't have had it in the film. but
People
it's not
forget
bad.
that he was. People forget that he was in. Was it Hairspray?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But
and
I
he-
also
Hairspray it
remind-
was, yes.
And
Which is
Peter
also
Pan.
another
Fair amount
remake,
of musical.
by the way.
not everything that man touched was good.
So,
Yeah, but I understand. But and then we haven't talked about it yet, but Idris Elba is sheer con.
Yeah.
So terrifying.
great.
He was a terrifying. Again, going back to the scariness of the jungle, he got that very perfectly. I mean,
Oh, he was excellent. And then we had Giancarlo Esposito and Lupita Nyong'o rounding off with the two,
I would
the male
put
and
this- I'm
female
gonna be completely
wolves.
honest
They were
with you guys.
brilliant as well.
I would put this right behind The Dark Knight. I would. This movie
Right
is
over there, yeah.
amazing.
I'd be right with that.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
only
I won't
thing
argue
that-
it. I won't argue it.
Well, the only thing that I would say is that when I first saw the movie in theater, I thought that the role of Idris Elba and Ben Kingsley could have been swapped. Honestly, like Ben Kingsley could
No,
have
but
played,
I actually like.
No.
and then Idris Elba
Kingsley, let me
could
tell
have
you,
been
Kingsley is a
Bagheera. I kind of felt that would have worked. I mean,
No.
film where Ben Kingsley is the villain that I
No.
like Ben Kingsley is the villain. I don't want
Yeah.
him as the villain.
and I also number one again. He plays a villain in a lot of other movies, and I feel like if you put him in development with this, he would have swept walk through it like he does other. There's a potential that he does that because there are a bunch of movies where he's a villain where he's fine, and then there are other ones where he's sleepwalking. So, he actually he cared about playing Bagheera, which
I have no problem with the way it ended up. So
well, since we're on this train of thought, can we finish out the 2 Disney remakes we have on here?
Yeah.
Or will we throw Mowgli into G while we have it there?
Where's Mowgli?
Where's Mowgli? Right there.
It's at the bottom.
There's the bottom.
It's at the bottom where it belongs. Let's be honest, it's not good.
Yeah, I don't care. Oh, there it is. Yeah, bottom. Let's go ahead and talk about Aladdin because it did come up. Aladdin did not break my heart, but it started to.
Here's my problem with Aladdin. I'm not saying it's like Chris. I don't think, and we're far more agreeing than I thought we were going to today, Chris. To be
I didn't have a problem with it.
But here's my problem with Aladdin. Jafar is nothing. He's nothing. He's a complete. And Jafar is an amazing villain in the Disney animated film.
Yep.
So to turn that guy into a nothing character is the music video with Jasmine is just head scratching.
I actually enjoyed that song. That song.
It's a song. It's fine.
Her Helpless is really, really good. I just don't want to hear it over and over and over again. But Helpless, it's a good song.
No. The song itself is fine, but it's shot
Speechless, not Helpless. Speechless.
Yeah, Speechless is fine as a song, but the last time it came on and it just stops everything and it's shot like a music video. Here's
where Aladdin. There are 3 things it comes down to with Aladdin that just drop this really low. Number 1, Jafar. Yes,
here it is.
Jafar, and by extension, Iago. I needed me a real talking Iago, not Alan Tudyk going. That was not what.
Yeah.
No. Number
it's
2.
pretty tough to replace Gilbert
Number
Gottfried
2, this thing really didn't know when to kick it up. It really didn't. Here's the thing. This could have been played out like a Bollywood movie very easily, and it still worked very well. There were moments where I really expected it to kind of break out as a Bollywood number, and it wouldn't do it. It just didn't do it. And then at the end, we ended up with a Bollywood version of Friend Like Me, and I was like, yeah, I like this. Its tone and timing don't really work. And then
I think this has. I don't know if this has to do with Guy Ritchie, but maybe I think it does because I feel like Guy Ritchie this didn't really play to his style of
not at all
film. That's kind of the problem. So he didn't know when to really let the scene burst. Prince Ali should have been a bombastic Bollywood number.
Wait, Prince Ali kind of was.
Prince Ali worked.
But it had the big spectacle that it should have had.
It had the spectacle, but you didn't see it. It was kind of like they had.
What film were you looking at?
No. It kind of
I think the position that Jordan you put it in there, maybe it goes above the Hulk and 101 Dalmatians, but I think C or the bottom B is a good position for it.
This is a high D.
I would even argue the bottom of B.
So Chris, you think Beauty and the Beast is better?
Okay. Here's the thing.
Aladdin.
I argue Beauty and the Beast should go lower, and I still do. I firmly believe Beauty and the Beast is terrible. Now, but
Aladdin's better.
You had to ask me which one am I going to go out in my living room and watch right now?
I think it's better than the 101 Dalmatians.
I'll go watch Aladdin. Yeah, it has its
That's where I would put it.
What's really good is
no. It is not ahead of 101 Dalmatians.
I think it is.
I think it is, but
better than
I
Beauty.
agree
It's
with
better
you.
than Beauty
I
and
agree
the
with you,
Beast.
Jordan. I think it's
I'm
better than
fine
Wonder
with
Woman.
better than Beauty. No. I'd still go back to Hulk before I go back to Aladdin.
I definitely would
You think
not.
so?
Okay, so
No.
in between Hulk and Beauty and the Beast,
I've
I'm
actually
okay
never
with
seen Hulk, so I can't make an argument.
Yeah, I think it should be behind Hulk and Beauty, between Hulk and Beauty and the Beast.
Oh no, definitely not.
Yes,
It's better than the Hulk. Hulk has so many more problems than this has.
No, but here's the I
No,
have problems. Why y'all keep saying Hulk is a problem? It's not a problem.
it's not a
the whole movie's a
problem.
problem.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I
It
want
is a-
Hulk lower. I wanted Hulk lower.
Oh,
No,
I
it
think
should,
that-
I think
I
I'm
might have to
100% with
move
Chris.
it right
It should
there.
be between those two. It should be between
yeah,
Hulk.
that's a fine spot for it. It's an okay
think
film.
that's
I
good.
would watch it again, but it's not great.
I'm
Hey,
watching it tonight. I'm
Here's,
watching
and
that
also
tonight.
here's
Me and the wife are definitely watching that tonight.
Here-
Screw that.
There you go.
Here's a controversial opinion for me about Aladdin. That everybody likes Will Smith and the genie, and he's a good genie. But Friend Like Me is not a good rendition of Friend Like Me.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I disagree.
There it is. I'm going to disagree with you
I think
100%
so.
I
on that.
completely disagree.
No. Here's
I
the
think it was
thing. Like,
good.
I could just, I'm kind of like a musical nut. So like that musical number was specifically suited for Robin Williams, and I could just, as a musical nut, I could tell when it was slowing it down so Will Smith could hit the beats, and then like
They had to
there's
make
more
a difference
kind
between
of-
Will Smith and
Or
Robin
Will
Williams.
Smith,
They had
and
to do it.
No. It's
You're
Will
dealing
Robin
with
Williams.
rapper.
It's not Robin. It's 100% not.
Nobody's ever
Will
going to.
Smith is more of a slower, kind of more lyrical kind of guy, as opposed to in
Slower?
Robin Williams is more of a fast moving, fast talking kind of guy. Yes, 100%. I agree with that.
Slower?
Yes.
Did you ever
You-
listen to any of his albums? That man can rip them off. What are you
Not
talking
anymore.
about?
Not now. Maybe he used to be. Not
Oh,
now.
man,
Maybe
no.
I think
1990.
you still can.
No.
You're gonna watch him sing on the Graham Norton show when he
rendition of
brings
it
back the Fresh Prince. He still got it.
is perfectly fine. Now, do I still prefer Robin Williams over? Maybe it's nostalgia, but yes, I
of
do.
course.
But is this that bad? No, it's got the energy. It's got a really good kind of jazz vibe to it, which works for Will Smith. He likes the.
That's
the
what I'm saying. This song
This
had to
works
fit.
really well.
No.
It worked,
That's
yeah.
what I'm getting at. This film had this. That's my point. You're hitting my point. This song had to bend over backwards to fit Will Smith. It does.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I can notice that this song was originally suited for Robin Williams, and they had to bend over backwards to make it fit Will Smith. It's not a bad rendition, but it did annoy me as a musical nut when I see this. I can tell in the musical it's slowing down to like Will Smith. It annoyed me. It did. I'll be honest. This is more me as like a diehard musical nut, like anal nut, than like the rendition itself.
When it comes to Will Smith and this issue, the reality is that they did a good job letting Will Smith create.
No, I like him as a genie. I'm
and
just
not be Robin Williams, which is why actually
No.
this ranks higher.
I like him as the genie. I just don't like his Friend Like Me. Let's not get this.
all right,
Let's not get this twisted. He's a.
I think that's a good spot.
You want a bad one? You want a bad one? Let's talk Dumbo.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
G.
Dumbo's bad.
G.
That might be a G.
Yeah, G.
And I'm sad to say it
They
because
took Dumbo and made it a totally different movie.
Hey, hold on. You remember when we
Yeah,
said
Dumbo.
Don't go full Burton. You don't go full Burton.
No.
Yeah.
See, you guys,
G.
this is
Definitely
perfect.
not.
This is perfect.
No,
Don't go
here's
full
the
burn,
thing.
guys.
I don't think it's the worst though. I'd put it at the top of G for me, but I don't.
Yeah, I agree.
Good at G.
That's fine, but it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
Did we talk about Father of the Bride yet? Or did
Not yet.
we?
We're getting there. We'll
I
get there.
need to talk about Father of the Bride because this thing.
Where it is, yeah.
Dumbo,
We can
I'll
talk
keep
about
it short and sweet on Dumbo. You had a challenge ahead of you because
I'm
Dumbo
fine
is
with it.
one
I know
of
it's
the
here.
shortest Disney films of all. Your main character doesn't speak. You're inferring a lot, and you don't have a lot to go off. Plus, it's one of the most controversial to this day Disney films of all time. So what do you do with that? He tried to create basically almost a whole new story on his own, and I give him props. I respect it, but it just it loses the charm somewhere.
He did the same. Here's the thing. He did the same thing he did with Alice in Wonderland, which is he made a somewhat sequel to.
No, Alice is the sequel to that. This is not.
Yeah, kind of.
Really?
Kind of.
Is he like the baby elephant? Is he like Dumbo Jr.? Is that what it is?
I'm just saying it's like,
and with the cast that he had, I mean,
the opening
so much
scene,
more with that
it kind of feels like a sequel.
So much more. So, but we can talk about Father of the Bride. Like I love Father of the Bride. I would
to me this is that I love this film. To me, this is S tier. And I know we're going to have this debate, but to me, this is a lovely movie. The casting is perfect. I love George Banks is like just like me in a nutshell. Just like this, like overstressed, stresses about everything. Has really anxiety issues.
Like one of his best roles ever.
In the relationship with him and his daughter, God, him and Diana Keaton. Everything about this and the comedy is perfect. I think
it's a great film. I'd argue A over S.
Did you guys see the part 3 they came out with? They came out with like a little part 3 over Zoom where they extended the story. Yeah, that was actually pretty fun.
Flaws with this movie at all, and a lot of these other A tiers, there are flaws.
There might be any flaws with it, but I don't think it gets to the utmost S tier.
To me, every time I watch this movie and we get to the end of the movie, I cry. Every single time. I'm sorry. It is a personal
really great story too that really gets your emotions going too.
I don't think many of these films hit the same emotional kind of thing that Father of the Bride does. So that's why to me it's S tier. And there are no flaws.
It's a good film.
I'd be okay putting it at the top of A.
Frank is great.
I'd be fine with that.
To me, him having a mental breakdown in the grocery store is just. That's awesome. Yeah, that would probably happen to me at some point. Yeah, if I was in charge of a wedding.
It is what it is.
Oh, it's stressful. Believe it, it's stressful. Planning a wedding. It's not fun.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I think it's an A. It's a good film.
Yeah.
I think A.
To me, it's S, but I'm not going to argue it being the top of A tier. But to me, it's
all right.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, JD, you're a musical guy, right? You say you're a musical guy?
Yes.
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, that's on here.
Here's the thing. It's not bad movie. The casting of Gerard Butler as the Phantom was a mistake.
Really?
They were going for this. But here's what I'll give it credit for. The idea of putting the chandelier scene and make that the climax of the movie was a smart move on the film's part. The idea of making the chandelier the climax is actually an improvement on the play because the musical happens at the end of the first act,
right?
And then it's rebuilt very quickly. So to me, this being the cause of what caused the downfall of the opera house makes a lot of sense.
I agree with you.
You have Gerard Butler as the Phantom, and he doesn't really sing that good. And he's no Emily Rossum, who, when you see the two compared together, and he's supposed to be this musical phenom, no, he's not a musical phenom.
All right, I agree with you. I agree with you. Here's my problems with this film, too. Mm-hmm. It's the continuity. In changing it, which I'm okay with the change that they made, in the music and in the lyrics of the story, when you listen, they talk about halfway through about a shattered chandelier. Wait, There hasn't been a shattered chandelier yet.
Yeah.
There are little continuity mistakes in
Yes.
adjusting things that they did
Yes.
that really mess with this. And I'm sad to say, Gerard Butler is the only piece of casting in this that I don't like. Amy Rossum is fine. Actually, it was supposed to be Anne Hathaway, which probably at that age would have been amazing. But
Yeah.
she was Disney bound at that point. But I think she's great in that. La Carlotta.
Yes.
Minnie Driver. This is the biggest travesty of all.
No,
They
she should have been
dubbed
nominated
her-
for Best
they
Supporting
dubbed her
Actor for
singing.
that.
They dubbed her singing, but she can actually sing.
Yeah.
I was very mad at that. For me, and I've seen the stage show 3 times.
It's my
different
favorite
places.
musical of all time.
I would put this at the bottom of D.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
bottom of D.
Yeah, it's a
Well, for me,
it's a fair thing. It is I will say this right now.
I'd be okay with
It
that.
is probably in my top 2 of musicals. I loved no. The musical, not the movie. The musical. The musical is it's up there for me. It really is. Because to me, the Phantom as a character is a fantastic character. And they ruined it. That should have been your slam dunk character. And they somehow managed to ruin him.
But
Well,
then
see,
they bounce it back with the whole set design and the scenery. I love the cinematography.
Yes,
I really do.
It's beautifully looking.
And the integration of the music in where the people are moving and how the camera movements, I buy that. I like that. It's just
even going back from like the old to the going back to the past and then going back to the future. Actually, that was very well shot and very well done. As I said, the problem is you just
am I crazy? I don't like the old Rawl bits. The old him back or in the future as we're watching old Rawl go. I don't like that.
No. I like him. I agree and disagree with you. I like him. The auction scene, I think, was
the auction scene stays.
And then actually the end scene too. Like if you just the 2 buttons, I think are.
I have a feeling that was only put in because Andrew Lloyd Webber was also working on Love Never Dies, and that plays into Love Never Dies, which wasn't that great, and it just it ruins it. Ending the film with the monkey on the chair in the very end of the play is really good because you don't know what happened to the Phantom. You don't. And I like that. I like that a lot. Having this ending where, he's still alive. I'm just like, I don't give it.
As I said, I liked it. It's fine. You may have maybe you could have left it more but I'm just saying the scene up to that point before you got to that, the grave of Fontaine as opposed to the chair. I don't.
You mean Christine?
What?
You're mixing your musicals, man.
Sorry, Emma. Oh, God, it is. I did not get much sleep last night. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's okay.
For me,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, the grave, changing it to a grave from the chair. I liked. I can see your point to. I can see your point with the, maybe leaving it out more ambiguous about Phantom.
Yeah.
But to me, I liked that you saw the grave. To me, it was interesting.
Yeah,
that's fine, I guess. But either way, at the bottom of D.
Yeah, it's bottom of D.
I haven't seen this myself, so it's up to yourselves.
And I will say,
I'm
not a huge musical person. I actually don't really like musicals at all very much. And take a movie like Les Mis where they sing from the very opening scene to the very end. I don't like that. I thought that was a terrible movie. People can come at me, and I don't care because I don't like movies with just too much.
It's opera style. That's the opera style.
It's opera style. It makes sense.
Less music and it's like more of a story. You get more acting in there. You get all that. That's why I actually like it better. This is my favorite rendition of the Phantom of the Opera.
That's not even on the list.
There's acting,
But
They don't stop singing. It's like stop singing, take a breath for a minute. Come on.
But before we move on, I think the movie has issues. I don't think that is one of them. That's not one of them. You know, there are some casting problems that they had.
I'm not gonna make musicals very high.
But that's not the singing style that I don't think is one of them. Patrick Wilson as Raoul is actually was really I like that casting actually.
The rest of it is beautiful. Madame Giry, I love Madame Giry.
Yeah.
Your casting is fine. Other than Gerard Butler, but
yeah, Gerard
that's
Butler.
the lead. That's your lead guy.
Yeah, Gerard. We agree on Gerard Butler. Like there are things in like.
There's a thing about the Phantom where the Phantom, you know, he's supposed to be horrified by his disfigurement that he has, and yet even my wife admits when you take it off, she's like, it's not really that bad. Like,
but that's also in the musical.
It's not really that.
It's not. The musical has that problem too. It's not. It's the fact that you know, depending on where you, especially depending on where you sit, like it's not. That's a problem with the musical. So in that case, I don't blame the film so much because you have the same issue in the musical. I do think, as I said, Phantom is a fantastic character in the musical, and they found that should have been your ace in the hole, and they ruined that. Yeah, that's the problem with this film. To me,
what do we got next?
Yeah.
If we have Hairspray there, I'd like to bring that up since we're talking musicals. I think we
I
had
don't know if I even.
Hairspray.
I don't think I included Hairspray. Yeah, we'll have to add it for next week because
Because I adore that film. To be honest, I think it's
I will. Yeah.
It's fine.
Like I said, I'm not a musical person, so I like checked out halfway through that movie, but that's just me.
It's fine. It's not my cup of tea, but like I can't argue that, you know, it's a well-made film and it's a well done film. It doesn't fit into my area of kind of like my musical it's more personal preference than anything else, but
yeah.
I can't deny it's a well done movie. It is.
Right. Well, I mean,
the casting was great as well.
Unless you guys have anything, I'm just kind of moving along, but we have When a Stranger Calls.
While we're on kind of musicals, A Star Is Born, we should talk about that too.
Yes. Which version? Which version?
In the movie.
I believe we have the new one.
The new one? I actually there's a song in that this movie has a place in my heart. I'm not gonna lie. One of the songs that's sung in this film is actually the song that she dedicates to him after he dies.
Yeah.
Spoilers, sorry. That was my wife's first dance song.
Yeah.
I feel
this film's close to the heart.
Academy Award winner.
It's better than a lot of musicals.
If it's not top A, it's lower S. If it's not top A, it's lower S.
Yeah,
I agree there.
I agree
there 100%.
Because
I don't
think it's S, but I do think it's top A. I think it's top A.
I'd be okay with top A.
Here's the main. I love Sam Elliott is like the brother, like their relationship. I think is fantastic. It is Bradley Cooper's first directing gig, and it shows in some areas. But him as an actor in this film, like I stand by this. He should have. It was a big year. He should have won.
Yeah.
Who won again instead of it? Who won instead of it again? I can't remember.
So
was it Malik?
Huh?
Was it Rami Malek?
It was Rami. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Let's think about this for a second, okay? For Bradley Cooper, all right. Not only was he one of the lead producers on this, and he gets a Best Picture nod, gets a Best Actor nod,
Best writing nod,
Best Adapted Screenplay nod.
Yeah, writing
in the
nod
Oscars alone. But in other avenues, he was nominated for Best Director, not the Academy Awards, but others recognized him. You know,
no, it's a good
film, and then Lady Gaga.
She was unbelievable.
Oh my
Absolutely unbelievable.
This is
Yeah.
where
A whole new respect for her.
If this does not
Right, yeah.
solidify her, and before she's a musical genius, she is. I'm going to argue
She
that
is.
till
Yes.
the cows come
No,
home.
I would
but this
agree.
is where I'm
Solidifies her and proves
this
that
is-
she can do anything.
this is where I kind of I do think Lady Gaga is amazing in the movie. I'm not going to give that away from her.
Mhm.
I need to see more from her as an actress before I say she's an amazing actress, because I don't think this is necessarily a stretch for her. Like, because think about it. This is probably the role, the way it's kind of written. This is her, like, it's probably her the old Ellie is probably like the younger Ellie before she becomes a star is probably how she used to be before she became Lady Gaga. And then a lot of the, stuff that happened after it is kind of like her Lady Gaga face. So to me, like, I am intrigued to see what she does next as an actress. But I need to, and it's a great first role. She did a great job. But I need
I
to
want to see her on Broadway.
I'm
She
not
should get the
ready
EGOT.
yet to say
That's the next thing.
she's.
She's pretty close to getting the
I
EGOT.
need to see like the rules.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I need to see
Close to the
something else
EGOT.
that she's really amazing in before I say,
She win the
okay, she's this triple threat. That's just me.
It's
Has she
only
won an
the Emmy, I think, might be the only one she's missing on. She
she's
has. I know she has
nominated.
3.
She's been nominated for Emmys. She's never won, and she needs that Tony, so she's halfway.
Yeah, she needs
Okay.
2. She needs
Two.
2. Tony and
But-
But if
But
anyone could do
she'll
it
get
right
it.
now, besides Lin-Manuel
Oh, yeah.
Miranda, it's her.
yeah, 100%.
100%.
Again, I think she did an amazing job. I need to see more. I need to see more. And again, but yeah, as I said,
I think that's a
it's
fair
top of B tier, bar none.
Yeah. Top of A, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
You got all right. Anything else standing out? To anyone?
How about
Karate
Nightmare
Kid.
on Elm
Karate
Street,
Kid.
How bad it is.
You go with Karate Kid, I think.
We got to start. We got to go into. Eventually, we got to get to Star Trek too, because that's going to be a long conversation.
Yeah, just to kind of I jump out, but I know we have the Jalen Smith one here, don't
The
we?
Karate
Yeah,
Kid is fine. It's fine.
I know it's on here.
It
It's-
is.
yeah.
You went past it there. You went by it.
right next to Last Holiday and The Hills Have Eyes. Up
Up
to.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. I got
It's fine. It is not as good as the first, but it's fine.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's
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 fi-
just
it's
mediocre.
fine. Like,
It's
to me,
mediocre.
like
like an average movie,
Okay.
I'd say.
This is a
It's
D.
fine.
It's not
It's solid
higher
D.
D. Higher D.
it's fine.
Yeah,
Like, Jackie Chan
D
was
or
a
E.
good
Yeah,
person.
I wouldn't. I'd keep it exactly there.
I think right there is perfect. I'd say. So
It's fine. Jackie Chan was a good, Mr. Miyagi type, and But-
The only downside to this film is it lies to you right off the bat, because he's not the Karate Kid, he's the Kung Fu Kid. He's
Yeah.
teaching him Kung
Right.
Fu, not
Yeah.
karate. There's a
Yeah.
difference.
yes,
yeah,
they move it,
Yeah.
Other than that, it's fine.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
And then
They'll move it from China-
changing it
from
enough to
Japan
where
to
he moves
China.
to China. I
Mhm.
like that aspect of
To
it.
China.
That was a nice little touch there. I like it.
What
Yeah.
about
Well,
Jaden
yeah,
Smith
it's just
though?
decent.
Like
It's just
Jaden
He's
Smith.
fine. He's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, he's
He's
fine.
not good. He's not
Great.
bad.
I don't think he's
fine.
terrible. Yeah, he's just mediocre.
There.
I think that's about right.
I
Right.
said it, and because I don't think we'll get a lot of disagreement. The Nightmare on Elm Street remake, I feel, is a G movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's a G movie. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
I didn't like
top
that.
of
I
top
thought it
of
was very
G.
terrible.
Top of G.
Yeah.
All
Top of
right,
G.
fine.
Yeah.
They tried.
Done
I'll
with
give
that.
it.
Yeah.
You tried.
Actually, I preferred it in The Omen.
Oh wow. I'm okay
Yeah.
with moving it up.
Over the
No,
limit.
I'm okay with it being a little higher.
Well,
higher
here's the
I
thing.
thought it was better in The Omen. So
Here's the thing. Jackie Earl Haley is Freddy Cougar
he was good.
for Freddy
He
Cougar.
was yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Better in The Omen. So, yeah.
if you're gonna replace, the awesome original Freddy Krueger, Jackie
Well,
Earl Haley's not a bad
okay.
choice.
There are a couple of things that are really, really bring this film down. Number one, the makeup, and I know they tried to modernize it. I wasn't buying it. I just wasn't playing with it. The other thing too is that there is a campiness to the Nightmare on Elm Street films that is still terrifying, but there is a campiness to it that this lacked. It took it way too serious.
The great Freddy Krueger.
Here's the thing: if you're gonna,
and the thing that's great about Freddy Krueger,
here's what I'll say about it.
Surrounding him, you don't want to know his whole backstory. You don't want to know what happened. It's kind of like taking the mask off of Jason. You don't want to do that. You don't want to know the backstory.
Well, the films eventually do that anyway.
Yeah, well,
I know. But
here's what I'll say about the tone thing. It didn't work out great, but the idea, if you're going to reboot the Nightmare on Elm Street, what does everybody say about the Nightmare on Elm Street? It's campy, right? So if you're going to reboot the Nightmare on Elm Street and you want to do a new take, what do you do to make it stand out immediately? You make it more serious, right? It didn't work, but the idea of it is, in theory, is not a terrible idea. It just got lost in execution.
There are lots of great ideas. It's a matter of what execution you did.
That's what I said. In theory, it's not a bad idea. It just wasn't executed.
Yeah. And besides Jackie Earl Haley, the cast was pretty terrible. I thought it was terrible acting.
It's unforgettable. It's not Heather Langenkamp. It just doesn't fly. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't work.
Rudy Mora is Nancy is. You forget that's rude. I think people forget that's Mara, by the way.
That is true. I totally forget. That's how bad it was.
It's not, they just gave her nothing to do. That was the problem. But that's not a bad casting choice.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to get Star Trek out of the way?
We need to get Star Trek out of the way.
Sure.
I feel like it's going to be
for us.
I will just say one thing here. Let's put a time limit on this, just so we can get other movies done as well. Time limit on it. We have to do it.
It's gonna be like 5 minutes or something.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say about Star Trek.
I might get high. I really like it.
To me, it's 8. To me, if you want to put it top of A tier, no issues.
I think that's too high. I think that's too high.
S tier is test.
I want to put it
S tier is a bit much because number one, we're going to get into this. Nero is not a good villain. I'm sorry, he is not a good villain. And you said last week that Star Trek, you don't care about that, and I would argue the best Star Trek movies had great villains, besides maybe one. There's an exception to the rule, but that's the exception. People, when they talk about Star Trek, they talk about Star Trek movies, they talk about Rafa Khan, they talk about The Undiscovered Country, and they talk about First Contact. And a lot of people also throw in, the whale movie, The Journey, Voyage Home. And that's the exception to the rule. But in generally speaking, in an undiscovered country, you have the Klingons. In Rafa Khan, you have Khan. In First Contact, you have the Borg. Mm-hmm. All great villains. So and those are what are considered the best. And I'm sorry, I like where they go with the Spock and Kirk relationship eventually, but in the beginning, a lot of that stuff kind of felt forced to me. Like this kind of forced, it did. It weighed it on a bit thick for me. It was a bit thick. I get what they were trying to do, but it was a bit thick initially.
My opinion on this is I have not seen any of the originals. This was the first Star Trek film that I have seen. Now, that probably gives me a completely different view on it than the people who have seen all the other films. Star Trek was never my thing. I did really enjoy it. Again, the villain is. It's not really. There's no point in the villain, really. But the things that happen in this film is really good. I enjoyed it. I would put it, if we were ranking it here, I'm putting it right in between Captain America and Man of Steel.
And there's one more thing I need to say before
with that.
go. There's one more point I forgot to add, and I do think this has to play into this. If we talk about cultural relevance and kind of like things that get parody and not potentially knocking things down like it has in previous, movies, Lensflare was a thing, and it was because of this. It started with this movie. J.J. Abrams and Lensflare was started with this movie, and that he used Lensflare too much. That has to be taken into consideration when we're talking about this, and when we've knocked down other things for similar reasons. So.
Chris is going to go on a tirade right now.
All right, I'm just doing a time limit. So
I don't really care. He's going to do it in every movie.
Hold on. Number one, your complaints about Nero are ill-founded because the reality is this is a character whose entire planet, his entire species, to his knowledge, has been wiped out. His family gone, and he had total faith in Spock and the Federation, and they failed him. This is a man who lost his mind. Literally, because he lost everything. His reactions, being as erratic as they are, absolutely makes sense to me. This is a man who is torn out of time now, literally. I am absolutely okay with Nero. In the beginning, I absolutely agreed with you. I did, but I've watched this more and more, and I also have the advantage of other material to add into it, but let's separate that. Fine. This is a guy still who lost everything. It's a lot like Zod in a way. Zod goes nuts. He is trying to protect his people. He goes totally nuts and is willing to destroy everything because he lost everything. I buy that. I understand that. I get it. This film does such a good job of bringing in an entirely new audience like Sherlock, and yet people like me who are huge fans of the franchise, not alienating them. We brought everybody together. It is enjoyable. The music is good. Michael Giacchino does a fabulous job on this.
I'm not going to argue with the score.
And the casting for everybody is
the casting.
So good. They know
the best part of the whole movie is the casting.
They know exactly which characters needed to stick points and which didn't. Like Chris Pine is not Shatner, and we're okay with that. And yet, Carl Urban.
I think Chris Pine is better than Shatner.
The majority of your points are sound. Here's my issue with your Nero argument. It was the reason it didn't register with me. And again, you said you had to watch this several times before you kind of realized this. A lot of Nero's backstory was thrown away in like throwaway kind of dialogue. So, forgive me for not really noticing that much. They don't, besides one flashback sequence that doesn't really tell you much.
He told everything he needed to know when he was talking to Captain Pike. When he had Captain Pike, he told him everything about what was going on. Right
again, but it's kind of like throwaway. It was kind of, if that was an important piece of his character, it shouldn't have been thrown away and kind of like a throwaway dialogue.
That was not thrown away. That was fine the way it was. Is he one of the great Star Trek villains of history? No, I'll admit that. He's not. He's not Khan. He is not General Chang.
But to me, it came across more as like similar to like the MCU movies. He served a purpose. He was function. He's not. He served his function. He did it fine, but you're not there for. In this case,
forgettable.
You were there for.
I don't buy it.
For the hero.
It's pretty forgettable.
I understand your point, but I
would make it even higher.
Where do we have it? Right? Okay, you have it.
I think it's perfect there.
I
don't think it's better than Captain America.
Yeah, I agree.
I can make an argument, but I'd be happy with it there.
My Star Trek goggles, to me, this is the fourth best Star Trek film. And that's saying a lot because the three you listed earlier are my top three. No question. Yeah. I think they're a lot of people's top three. But this is right up there in the conversation. This is so good and does so much. I adore this film. I love this.
Yeah, to me, it's just, to me, I go back to Captain America: First Adventure far more. And to me, the kind of I love the I kind of because I love Man of Steel so much, and that was why I was passionately arguing Man of Steel more than Captain America. But I love Captain America: First Avenger. I love that it's a World War II war film. I love all of that. Him when he's doing like the Star Spangled Man sequence is one of my
I get it, but I counter
yeah,
you.
to me, there's just so much I go back to.
I absolutely love seeing the origins of Kirk, like pre-Kirk, because that's something in the series and in other movies.
I mean,
that was something awesome and new to see.
Yeah, but it isn't.
And it's not even the Kirk that we're used to because it's a completely different timeline.
And again, I stand by this. Like the whole jury, like him on trial for the
Kobayashi Maru, that was amazing. What are you talking about?
It was too thick for me. It was a bit. It was too melodramatic court drama for me. I'm sorry.
Did you not know the implications of cheating on the Kobayashi Maru?
No, that part was brilliant. That part was absolutely excellent.
No, to me, this is flip. Because this comes down to personal preference for me. I kind of get this, but yeah, to me it was melodramatic court drama stuff. I'm sorry.
The thing is, it's flipped, and it shows how different this timeline is. Because in past movies, and again, I know we can't quite, but in the past movies,
again,
he was giving commendations for his outside the box thinking. He was applauded by Starfleet. In this one, that doesn't happen. It shows that different timeline. It's different things.
Again, this is probably coming down to me as I'm a casual Trekkie. I've seen some Star Trek films. I like them. I am far more of a diehard Star Wars person than I am a Trekkie. And I think this is what this comes down to.
Yeah.
This was a lot of this stuff was still that kind of stuff was so inside baseball that to me that just watching it in a vacuum by itself. I hadn't even watched Wrath of Khan until I'd say less than a year ago. It's very recent. I watched Wrath of Khan. Truth be told, I love Wrath of Khan. That one I'll give you. If we were talking Wrath of Khan here, S tier, 100%.
No,
would not argue with that at all. But I think that's a brilliant movie.
We'll rank Star Trek films one day, but you're wrong, sir. Wrong.
Again, this is coming me as a casual Trekkie. In a vacuum, that film is a brilliant, piece of, a brilliant piece of film. This one went way too inside baseball.
I feel it needs to be higher than that. Because it's inside baseball doesn't mean it's not good baseball.
No,
it's great baseball.
No.
This is one of the greatest games ever played.
No, I think that does. It is a detriment because the goal of this film was to try to get new Star Trek people. And it's
fine where it is. I disagree, but at least you didn't put it lower.
Yeah.
Better than Man of Steel.
It's A tier. It's definitely A tier. There's no denying it. It's not S tier.
For me, going off the whole inside baseball thing, I grew up a diehard fan of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I've seen that series all the way through at least 4 times, and I've only seen a handful of the original Star Trek series. I've only seen maybe 5 or 6 episodes, and I felt like I was really missing a lot of that inside baseball. Like I was just kind of out of the loop. Kind of like I wish that I would have known more about it going in, but I just didn't know it.
Yeah, that's to me. It's when it comes.
That's the hard thing with Star Trek, and I'll admit that there is a lot of Star Trek to go through, and it's definitely built more towards fans. That being said, this Star Trek does such a good job of trying to bring people together. I really appreciate that. You didn't have to be a long-time fan,
and that's why it's A tier. That's why it's A tier.
I think A
I'm with you.
I would argue with somebody
It's a
too.
perfect
You
spot.
get into Star Trek, this is what you show them. You get one shot. This is not a
Yeah.
bad.
I don't
agree with
disagree
that.
with that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I think that's a good spot for it. So, all right.
What else
Was
we
it the
got?
movie was a movie I really wanted to rank because it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I wanted to rank The Ring just because, like, when I first saw this, I remember being absolutely terrified. And I watched this with my wife, and she made it through the first one. She's not big into horror movies. She'll watch them from time to time, but she will not watch the second one. She had nightmares after watching this. She will not go into the second one.
At all.
Yeah. I actually like the second one. I mean, not as much as the first one, but I like that they reveal all the different things that are within the video. I like that, but that's just me. I mean, I would rank it high. For a horror movie, I'd rank it A tier. That's me.
Oh wow.
I love The Ring. The first
No.
Well, funny enough, the first time I ever saw this was actually when I was in high school. I was in a video tech class and they showed us this. I don't know why they showed it in high school, but they showed it to us.
Yeah, nah, I don't. It's fine.
I saw it in movie theaters when it first came out, and I'm going to be honest, I fell asleep. Now, that's not to say I don't like it. I've watched it fully all the way through since.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
But it just, for a horror film, what it works is the atmosphere, the lighting.
Yeah.
By filming it in Seattle, first of all, you think that's all filters and stuff. Seattle's like that.
Oh yeah,
So
they're from Seattle. So
yeah,
it's like that. Yep, I know.
Completely to it. Going to Seattle was a smart move. And the idea even works for me. The kind of the creepiness factor, and then the fact that the very ending of the film when she crawls out of the TV and that was horrifying.
Oh.
We never got any of that up until that point. So as a horror film, it's all about that ambience atmosphere. I would argue
You got her kind of climbing out of the well a little bit.
yeah, I think it's almost like Hitchcockian. Almost like a Hitchcock film where they really build it up and build it up and build it up. And I would argue that without that final ending, it is as worthy as any Hitchcock thriller.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can I say one thing about it being an A? Like I know there's different tiers of A and all that type of thing, but it's not as good as the likes of Star Trek or Man of Steel I'd put it.
This is where I kind of like it.
I think it's a B.
Is
I'm okay having it in B tier. I mean, I think maybe like just under Wonder Woman, I could be okay with that.
I'm fine with that.
Yep.
I think that's about right for it. Cool. Yeah. Sounds good.
And I highly, if you ever get the chance, watch it with subtitles. Watch the original Ringu. Even better.
You need to see the original. I've never seen that yet. Yeah, that's.
Can we talk about a film from my childhood while we're here?
Sure,
Ed TV is an interesting. I didn't know that was a remake.
Never seen it. Never seen it.
I've never seen it either. So.
I really liked it.
It's a remake. I want to look at the remake of.
Is it?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Ed TV. It's Matthew McConaughey. He wins a reality he there's like this contest and then there's like this audition process and he becomes like a Truman Show. Like it becomes but as a comedy,
remake of a French film,
straight up comedy about he becomes a reality star and it's 24/7 all about Ed. At the same time, before it, he actually met a girl and the girl doesn't want to. I remember liking it as a kid. As an adult, it's probably it's F. I've
never seen it, so
arguably G.
Wherever you want to put it, you can put it.
It's not good.
Put it top of G.
Yeah, top G. Yeah. It's not great.
I have one for you. I have one that I want to talk about. It's a classic. Yeah. It's a 2000s classic, and I say that with a wink and a nod. Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh yes, yeah. Another film of like Eleanor.
My favorite guilty pleasure movies. I don't think
this is just
action,
but I love it.
Exactly. Yes. It's complete another action. Shut your mind off for an hour and a half, 2 hours even, and just watch
I think,
nonsense on the telly.
I
I was
argue it's
gonna put it at the
icy.
top of D. That's kind
No,
of
no, 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 no. If we're going like Little Shop of Horrors, like I feel like it should be B tier.
I think it's
Undeniably,
better than Little Shop of Horrors.
it is B tier to the core. You know,
I just wouldn't want it to
it's
be lower
it's
than
not
that.
to
But
get
yeah,
above that, but like,
I'm totally happy with
yeah,
that.
I think it's B tier.
I wouldn't even put it like right above The Ring, or yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that placement.
Yeah,
Alright.
to me, it's
such
you
a
know, we're
fun
going with
movie.
the Little Shop of Horror. It's B tier, unapologetically. I think that's where it should go.
Well, that's you can literally say that about nearly any Nick Cage movie. It's
Yes.
unapologetically stupid, but it's great.
Except for the Wicker Man. Nobody likes that movie.
Oh
Well-
no, it was terrible.
Well, I should say there's a few exceptions, but
But like Con Air, like Face Off the Rock.
exactly when you
and I had a huge
even
crush on
even National Treasure.
Joe Lee from Gone in 60
Oh,
Seconds.
National Treasure! I'm going
even
to
more
see
than
the
Tomb Raider.
Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence.
You know what I just realized too is not on this list we need for next week is the producers. Mel Brooks, the
Oh yeah,
music.
yeah.
That's got to be on here. But I was
No, it doesn't. No, it does not. I mean, it technically is, but that movie broke my
if
heart.
Hairspray is going to be on here.
It's a remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the reason why I said
Remake
that
of
is
the Gene Wilder version.
Mel Brooks to be or not to be.
Oh yeah.
Which I had no idea was a remake until I started researching more about Mel Brooks. This
Somewhere near
movie
the top that I
is so
saw.
funny. This is
Where did I see it?
hilarious stuff.
Maybe-
And
I've
it
never seen
feels
this.
like it comes. You never seen this?
No,
I'll give you the very basic plot to it. Very basic. It's Poland, 1939.
Where is it? I
And
know
he's
I
an
saw it.
actor. He's a theater
Okay.
owner, actor. His wife is an actress, and they're a stage couple and everything. And on stage, it's all happy. And behind the stage, they're like, so she ends up being infatuated with this American pilot, and the pilot goes downstairs to see her every time Mel Brooks is on stage doing his to be or not to be monologue, and it pisses him off, but it makes him better. Every time he does it, it makes it better and better and better. And then the Nazis come in. But it's not like evil, messed up Nazis. Christopher Lloyd as a Nazi is hilarious.
That's got Christopher Lloyd.
Funny stuff. Like, look, none of us like to make fun of Nazis because it's it was a horrible thing. Mel Brooks can get away with it. Mel Brooks can do it and make it funny.
See,
To be as a remake, we're talking remakes here. This is easy a C tier, and I highly recommend this movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. So
My favorite two directors of all time. Make fun.
It is on my radar. It is. I love Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks, as a fellow Jew myself, like Mel Brooks is, he can do no wrong for me. Besides maybe the Producers musical, but we'll talk about that next week. But yeah, Mel Brooks can do no wrong for me. I love a lot of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
This one there, but I do have holes, and this is one of them, and I've been meaning to get to this one.
It's so good. It's accessible. I didn't discover it till I years ago. I bought the DVD collection with all of them in it. And like I said, I think this is lower C tier. But it is definitely one of those gems that doesn't get talked about. And again, I didn't know it was a remake, but I highly recommend this. It's funny watching. He walks in as Hitler on stage. They're making fun of Hitler, and you see people go "Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler," and of course, "Heil myself," which he's used again in the future, making fun of him. And it's just Mel Brooks can get away with this. It works.
Right.
He does it.
Can we?
Well, my favorite two directors of all time are Taika Waititi and Mel Brooks, and they're two people that make fun of Hitler. So I mean, and
they get away with it. Absolutely.
Yeah, they get away with it, and also too, I've seen pretty much every Mel Brooks movie, but for some reason I've never even heard of this one when you brought it up. I don't know how.
I would like to end on the maybe end this show with there are 3 movies here that I think we can kind of knock out relatively quickly. The Monsterverse, which is Godzilla 2016, Kong Skull Island, and Godzilla King of the Monsters. I think we can knock these out relatively quickly. We can
are we okay with it?
Well,
with the
Skull Island should be in the bottom.
I'm gonna leave it.
Skull Island.
This is going to be a controversial. This is going to be a
You think Skull
controversial
Island?
take.
Skull Island
I
was
actually
top.
think.
Oh, man. I
I
love
think Kong Skull Island is the best of the three.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Hold on. Let's
by
start
far.
with this then. The Godzilla. The first, since it's the first one.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
I like what they.
No, it's on here.
I really like what they were
Let me
trying to
find
do. We got more human stuff. We didn't get a full Godzilla and creatures until later on. Kind of plays a little bit like a JJ film in that game, but in a good
These
way.
two.
No. It plays. Here's what it plays like. It plays.
Great
Like,
adaptation. Or great.
I think this Godzilla was the
I
worst of
used
the
to
three.
be-
But
I used to be.
That's
terrible.
that's the other Godzilla.
Oh, that's the other one. That's
We'll talk about
2000.
that. That's the other Godzilla.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's
okay,
not
that's
talk
Matthew
about that
Broderick
one.
one. That's the worst of the three. But if you want to
G.
go to the other Godzilla, yeah, we got this Godzilla here.
Yeah, that Godzilla. We'll talk about that one another day, but that one is.
This one here. This
And I think I have
found
King of the
better than
Monsters too. Is that
Skull
King of
Island.
the Monsters?
Down there, yeah. Let's
Yeah, right.
Try to time this really quick.
Yeah, let's go through time. It starts with Godzilla, then you do Kong versus Kong Sky Island, and then Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yeah,
All right. So
do we have King of the Monsters here as well? Because
Yeah, it's on here.
I got some. Yeah,
I would say this is D for me.
it's on here somewhere.
This is
We'll
D.
find it
Again,
out in
it's fine, and it does what it needs to do very well.
Yeah, here's what.
Oh,
Here's
D
what-
is way too high for it, though. D is way too high.
No,
Think
actually,
so, huh?
D is right about where it should be.
Then,
Here's what I'll
can we
say.
go, can we go
Right?
top of E?
Here's-
I can't justify it being in D. Top.
No. Here's why.
Oh,
Can I tell you why it's D? Okay, so I was a huge Godzilla nut as a kid. Like I've seen a lot of the Toyo Japan movies as a kid. This is very much a throwback to like very, very old, like first few appearances Godzilla Toto, which is you don't see the monsters that much. Like they're these bit. It's more about the humans and their kind of struggles, and then there's this big monster rampaging and messing up with their lives and trying to figure out what's going on. It is very much a throwback to that, and I think they do that very, very well. The problem was the best human character they killed off 30 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, right.
and this was at the height of Breaking Bad fame as well.
Yeah, but and the trailers made it seem like he was going to be the lead.
Yep.
That's kind of the him and then Ken Watanabe is also really good in this. I think he's very solid throwback to the scientist that like appeared in those Toto movies. So again, the problem was, as I said, but I feel like it's D because I think to me the other, people will throw the Errol Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen kind of stuff as like negatives. I feel like everything else that's going on in the movie I think I forgive that stuff a bit, but it's not great. But I like the movie. To me, it's a D. It's a solid D. Yeah. It's a great throwback to that. Maybe you wish they didn't focus on Errol Taylor and Elizabeth Olsen this much. That's my opinion on that.
Well, see, I don't really like that they didn't show the monster. Like, I wish they would have showed it more because it's like
it's me. This is me as a Godzilla nut. I love that they kind of
like out of the water, just a little bit, just coming out, but you don't see all of Godzilla.
Again,
I wish they would have showed it a little more. I think they
very old fashioned, and I think they also did this because at the time, I think Toto was still a little bit involved with this. Like Toto licensed this out to Legendary, so they had a bit of say of what was going on. And again, that stuff I actually really liked as a Godzilla nut who used to be huge into this stuff.
It is a lot like the originals.
That worked.
I actually do like because I've seen 3 or 4 of the originals. So I mean, but like I wish we would have seen Godzilla more though.
It said this is more like his first appearance was called the U.S. version was called Godzilla King of the Monsters, actually, or with an exclamation point and a weird comma. that to me it's a throwback to like his first U.S. appearance, Godzilla King of the Monsters. Godzilla King of Monsters.
I mean, I think that Godzilla is definitely better than some of these D tier movies. Honestly, when you look at like the Karate Kid, I'd put it above that.
Yeah, to me it's a solid D tier.
I'd even put it above Phantom of the
It's
Opera.
fine. It's fine. It is fine.
It's
But getting-
I'll give it that it's better than Skull Island.
No.
No.
This is
Skull
where,
Island
this is
is-
where you and me are going to come.
Skull Island's awesome.
Skull Island's a
Skull
clunker.
Island is farther down in F tier.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
I like Skull
Skull
Island.
Island
it's
is
not.
awful. Skull
I may
Island.
be in the minority
There's
here.
Absolutely no chemistry between anybody in the entire cast. They are
This is where
awful.
I disagree with you. This is kind of where I'm
Wholeheartedly.
going to say it's
love
still low D tier, but it's low
It's
D tier because
Away the D tier.
it.
I would put it even higher.
I'm sorry. When Godzilla basically just like takes on, I'm sorry, the monster stuff in this movie is fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll give you
See
the
the
character
giant
stuff,
insects?
but to me, it's very
They get
similar to
attacked by, like-
Godzilla and the Kong fighting the monsters on this weird island and like all the weird island stuff. I'm sorry, I love it.
I think we should compromise here. You want D. Me and Chris seem to want F.
To
Put
me,
it
it's D.
D.
To me, because to me, it's
I think it's better
unapologetic.
than the other Godzilla, though. That's the thing. I don't want to put it lower than the
I
first
think
Godzilla.
we're gonna get there because I will highly
Gotta go
debate.
above Godzilla.
To
I
me,
think-
It gave me so many vibes of like Apocalypse Now and like all the camera work, which is
yeah, exactly.
That's what they tried to do, and it just
The island,
lived up
the
to the
island
fact.
mythology and like all the Godzillas and the monsters fighting is amazing. I'll agree with you. The character stuff is not great, but
I'd be okay doing that and it
The
right
character
above it.
stuff-
'cause I
the
think it's
character
better
stuff
than
is
that.
3/4 of the movie.
yeah, I actually think it's better than Godzilla. Believe it or not.
But is it any better than the character stuff in the first Godzilla?
It was just
Terrible
stated here
development.
that it was just stated here that the character stuff doesn't work.
It's no.
And you agreed with that, but that's 3/4 of the movie. So if 3/4 of the movie doesn't work, it cannot be in
I
D
think
tier.
that work.
I don't
mean,
think it's 3/4. I think it's a quarter. It's a
I
quarter
really
of
like
the
Tom
movie,
Hiddleston.
and
Samuel
3/4
Jackson,
of this
you got Killed Off
movie
too soon, but-
definitely does work. So to me, it's here's
I
my
think it
thing.
does work.
We can both agree. To me,
I say
like
C.
I would argue. I would actually argue C. Like if I,
Oh my
Yeah, that's
if
what
I
I'd say. I'd say the top of C tier. That's what I'd say.
no, not top.
Better than every single
Not
movie on
top
that
here.
list.
Did we move,
That's what I would say.
To me,
wait? Did we move films?
I would strongly say that.
now, here's what I'll say: Godzilla and Kong Skull Island run into the same problems. To me, Kong does a lot of the monster stuff better than Godzilla does. So that's why I think you put it above Godzilla. And
Yeah,
it's right there.
above.
It's right there because it has the same.
I think that's
issues,
fine where it's
But
at.
then-
I'm happy with it.
But then a lot of the islands mythology and again the island mythology and the monster stuff are just fantastic. It's
Fantastic.
better
Yeah.
than anything Godzilla does.
Better than any Godzilla movie I've ever seen. Honestly,
I will
I won't go there. I won't go
here's
there.
where I argue that
I would.
King
I
of the
would-
Monsters was far better than the other two.
Mhm.
What?
King of the
King of Monsters?
King of the Monsters is
No way.
the other two, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I too
I can
am a
say
fan
that.
of photo. I am a huge fan of rubber suits and zippers and love it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
All that.
This thing, but hold on.
That's
I've been
what we're
waiting for King Ghidorah forever.
Yeah, that is true.
Implication That was going to happen.
Here's my problem.
King Ghidorah was
Ghidorah, we got
Here's
Mothra.
my
we got-
problem.
and then we got all the others. We got Rodan. We got Mothra.
Rodan.
We got.
And they're beautiful. They're like
No,
they're
that stuff is
stunningly, amazingly beautiful to look at.
that
But the
stuff is-
story was crap. Story was
That is-
absolute crap.
that-
And then Godzilla, King of the
that is-
Monsters. It didn't make any sense. I had no idea what was even happening half the time.
Here's-
We're in one part of
here's my-
the world. Next minute,
Here's my problem with
we're
it.
in a
Carl
different
made this
part, and they don't
about-
connect.
Carl made this point about Kong, and I feel like this is more of an issue of King of the Monsters than it is Kong. I will agree with you. The monster stuff in this film is amazing. The problem
wouldn't
is
wanna put it here.
the-
That's just,
the story stuff makes no sense. It's yes, that is perfect. It is in between
Yeah,
Godzilla
no sense.
and Kong, because the issue that Carl had with Kong Skull Island is the issue I have with Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I'd say it's way
I do
more in Kong Godzilla King of the Monsters than it is in Kong.
Yep, same. I would agree 100% with that one. Well, I think the worst character development was in the first Godzilla to me. That's what I think. They just
No, but
killed
again, there's so much other stuff that's more fascinating about it that doesn't, you know, that.
I mean, I'd be okay even putting it like here.
That's what I wanted in that film, and that is what I needed, and I love it. And the human stuff.
It just the problem is it's like Carl said about Kong. It's which I disagree with about Kong, but I agree with him on Godzilla. It's a quarter of the movie. 3/4 of the movie is this story about the mother and like the father, played by Vera Farmiga, and like and Kyle Chandler, that makes no sense. And then like I love Charles Dance and how cheesy he is, but he makes no sense as a character. Like, no sense as a character.
What's her name from Stranger Things or whatever? She didn't really make sense as a character. And none of them. Yeah.
Neither Charles Dance or Via Farmiga made no sense. No sense.
Well, while we're talking about this, I think we've kind of agreed like that. Even though I disagree, that'd be the position for while we're talking monsters. And anyway, the King Kong. If we're putting Kong Skull Island where we are, it has to go.
Yeah, I think we have King Kong on there. I want to say.
Yeah,
it
is
there. It has to go 2 or 3 up. 2 or 3 up, then Skull Island.
No,
it's much scarier film.
And
the second half of the movie is a superior film.
We're talking Peter Jackson's Kong, right?
Peter Jackson's Kong, yes.
Peter Jackson's Kong.
Peter Jackson's Kong
is a beautiful film,
amazing in doing something that has been very different.
The whole first hour. The first hour was
more personality and more character than you ever thought possible.
No. If this was a 2-hour movie, I would be with you. They spent an hour on the effing boat. Which this film did not need. It did not need an hour on the boat. I am sorry.
What they did in the original, come on. There's nothing
I'm okay
wrong
putting
with
it
that.
higher.
If Skull Island is D, this has to go B or C or even A.
No.
Skull Island is A, B, or C.
I'd be okay with a B.
No, there's an hour of complete slog on this.
Yeah, there's a whole hour that just is not necessary.
Yes, it's an hour
of the movie, and then re-release the movie, and it'd be great.
This is why I would say C. It has. I can understand that it's a little slow for people. I like it, but I can.
No, I rather take the.
Once you get Kong there, Kong has so much more personality. The fight with the T-Rex is pretty damn cool. And the connection that Kong has with the female character, it's built out pretty well. And Andy Serkis, why? Listen to me, Academy. I don't know if you're watching this, and you're probably not.
Yeah, he was great.
Academy, why are you not considering Andy Serkis for Academy Awards? Because the performances this man puts out in mocap are 10 times better than half the schlock that you nominate. Andy Serkis.
I don't disagree with you, but I don't disagree with you on the Andy PowerPoint. The problem is, as I said, to get to that point, you have to get through an hour of schlock. And then the hour of here's what I'll give Kong Skull Island and why I would put it ahead of of King Kong. It is efficient. You may not like the character stuff, but it's efficient. And then it moves on away from it very quickly. Very, very quickly. And again,
I think they're comparable.
The monster stuff is fantastic.
The thing is, they're completely different films because Skull Island and Godzilla, we knew going into these that they were there just to be action films. They were branded.
And that's why I forget.
marketed
And
like
that's
that.
why I forgive it
Kong-
more.
King
That's
Kong
why I
was
forgive
not
it more
like
than
that,
King
though.
Kong. See,
King Kong was not marketed as an action film. It was marketed as this long story. You don't see a lot of
and
Kong.
that's why I forgive it.
That is
That's
true.
why I forgive the character stuff more in Kong Skull Island, and why I would put it ahead as opposed to King Kong. Because you're right, it did market itself as a character piece. And you know what? That hour of character stuff was not necessary in order to get the
But it was
good
character
stuff
development.
was in the
It
last
was
2
more of a
hours.
character piece.
So that's why King Kong Skull Island should be ahead.
No,
Personally, I like Kong.
this was far
Skull
more
Island better, but I can see why people like this King Kong better. I can see why. I personally don't like it better, but I can understand
But
why.
people don't think this is considered the best, a good King Kong. They consider it a fine King Kong that has a hour of schlock that is not necessary. And again, I will forgive an action film for having no characters, not having so much character stuff.
Yeah, you can forgive it more in action.
The film that was supposed to be character and has an hour of stuff that is completely unnecessary.
Yeah, that
That
makes
is
sense
that's
because
my viewpoint.
I
because
think we're-
character development matters so much more.
I don't
like,
agree with
drama,
this
if
at all.
if it's me, I'm putting, like, I know you guys won't agree. If it's me, I'm putting King Kong into A. I'm not going to try and push it that far, but I think
No,
B
I would-
is a
I don't
bit-
even.
I think
put
B's a
it
good
in B.
compromise.
I don't
That's what I
like it. It should be.
I would
So,
even move
hold on.
it.
It should be in C. This should be in C. I'm
I
sorry.
hate
No, it's
doing
C.
this. Well, I
I'd be
hate
okay
doing
with
this,
that.
but I want to put this into perspective on the grander picture. Okay, King Kong 2005. All right, 84% on Rotten Tomato. IMDb has a 7.2 rating of it. All right, Kong Skull Island. All right, 75% on Rotten Tomato and a 6.6. Now, respectable, especially on the Rotten Tomato side. Respectable.
MDB rankings don't mean much.
Clearly, and I don't care. Clearly, King Kong
Oh, and
is thought of higher than Kong Skull Island.
Crystal Skull is the greatest thing since sliced bread because Rotten Tomatoes had that at like 80% at one point.
that's a debate of another day.
No.
Crystal Skull.
No, I'm not. I don't. I'm not
Now,
because
Second best Indiana Jones film.
no, but
I
I'm
only
just
watched
saying
them
that
recently.
doesn't mean
Really?
that
That's a hot
doesn't
take.
mean
For another day.
anything to me. That argument means jack and shit.
you want to believe that, fine, but there are
This
enough
should be C tier. This
voting
should be. This
that
shouldn't be B tier.
clearly
This is
King
not
Kong
better than Little Shop of Horrors.
than
This is
Kong.
not better than Little Shop of Horrors. I'm
I've
sorry.
never seen Little Shop of Horrors, so I mean, I'm fine.
Uh,
I'm okay to do
It's
that.
not better than Wonder Woman. It is not better than
It's better.
Gone in 60 Seconds. It's not better than Freaky Friday. It is not better than Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3. If you want to
I
put
think
this
it's better
top
than Freaky
tier,
Friday.
I won't argue.
I'll give it
But
that.
it should be C tier. This
I
shouldn't
know,
be B
and
tier.
I'm okay with it being high C. High C, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to put it
I
in
see
C
the
tier?
I see it.
Say
Sure.
above
Let's do that.
Can we put a bottom B? Bottom B. Placate me. Let me be happy.
Sure. Yeah.
Bottom
I
B.
see.
bottom
No,
B.
I don't want to. No, it's not bottom B. It's just not.
Fine.
It's
Well, it's
not.
a good compromise, I feel like, because you think it's low, and Carl wants it high, right in the middle, and I'm totally fine with it. I think that it should rank a little lower, but I can see why people like it and
To
want
me,
it
this
higher.
should be D tier. If this was my way, it would have been B tier. So to me,
I'll-
that's why I
all
thought
over again.
high C was a compromise. But no, it's D. There's an hour of
consensus?
schlock. I'm sorry. That's not, if a third of your film is not necessary, why should it be?
Yeah.
Why should it be any higher than D? I'm sorry. I'm not.
Well, I think we should, because we got 7 minutes left. I think we should definitely look at some things that make us happy, make us smile.
On that note, though, lads, I'm actually going to have to jump off just a couple minutes early. There's a Zoom chat
Okay.
that's happening here, so I'm going to have to jump out.
All right. Well,
I do. This was a lot of fun. I did enjoy it. So, just so you all know as well, I'm just going to, sorry, Jordan, if I'm going to plug something real quick.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
I'm starting my own show there now next week. It's going to be called the Sherlock Reel. We're going to be kicking it off. It's a knockout tournament. We have 32 action films, 80s action films to be precise, and we're going to work it down to one to figure out which is the best 80s action film of all time. We have Jordan is actually going to be on the show himself. So if anyone here would like to watch,
I would definitely be in. I would be
if you want to participate as well, there, JD, that's no bother at all. We can get you in there as well, and there'll be 5 of us there then, which is perfect, and we can find out what the best 80s action film is.
Yeah, awesome.
So,
yeah.
Cheers, everybody. Follow me there on @CarlSherlock on Twitter there, and see you soon.
Yep. All right, awesome. Take care. We'll see you.
But yeah, I would love for us to go out on some happier notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again,
let's talk about Robin Williams and Flubber.
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
This is going to be a tough one for me because it's
toward the bottom.
Oh, here you
I
go.
loved it.
Yeah.
I loved this film as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid, but I don't think it holds up.
Yeah, I don't think it holds up.
I disagree, and I'll tell you why. I believe that this is such a charming film. Robin Williams.
I love Robin Williams.
Really 90s Robin Williams, when it comes to family films, could do no wrong.
Right.
Robin Williams, the absent-minded professor, so well in this. The CG for the flubber is really cool. They get the translucency on it just right, and yet they also
do.
have flubber personality, which I liked.
No, that's like that stuff. I agree with you. Is charming. I'm not going to argue Robin Williams. I still love Robin Williams when I watch this film. I still love seeing Flubber when I watch this film. The problem I have with this movie, and it takes up a severe portion of this movie, is the love triangle between Robin Williams and the guys, the Happy Gilmore guy. Yeah, that stuff to me takes so much of this movie that and it just doesn't work. It just
no, it's a little cheesy.
I find family film. This is what it's supposed to be.
Right.
It's exactly. It's not lying.
No, it's supposed to be a little cheesy. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I like the chemistry between Robin Williams' character and the love interest. It's when you bring in, when you bring up McGavin into it. I'm sorry, it's not. To me, bringing all that into it, like as soon as you brought him into it, I was like, no, I'm turned off. Like every time that he comes on screen, it's just like nails on a chalkboard to me.
Here's the thing. I love Christopher McDonald in his role. He plays that kind of role just so well.
I just don't think you needed it. I don't think you needed it. That's my problem.
He has a lot of family films. He does like David to Beaver and all those kind of family films, I mean, I thought he was fun.
And then on a Disney nod, you had Jodie Benson voicing Weebo, which was funny. She had attitude, and yet she's got that Disney legacy to her. I love that.
To me, I'm not going to argue like any of the science stuff. I think all of that holds up. But that's fair. But again, to me, when you brought Christopher McDonald into the movie, I just you didn't need it. You didn't need it. And then they tied him into the villain, so to make it like a convenient, way to get him out of the picture. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. The tension of the fact that he was a die-hard, he was too much into his work, that was enough. You didn't need him. It was unnecessary.
No, I disagree.
Work.
Because here's the thing, okay? So the point with Robin Williams, obviously, he's absent-minded. He's in love. They're engaged. And yet he keeps missing things. It's getting in the way. So naturally, you needed something else that would be a potential lure to lure her away to be able to get him to snap.
But
Yeah.
that's
We needed that.
this is
You
why I
need that.
disagree.
And Chris McDonald is perfectly
Yeah.
fine in that kind of a role.
No, I disagree
you
with
don't
you.
like him?
The fact that he's absent-minded and not there, that was it was over for them. So to me that was enough. The fact that he's absent-minded is not there, that ruined their relationship for a bit. You don't need another war. This is where I disagree. That was enough. And then you could have had them slowly find their way back to each other, and then you could have had it
supposed to be absent-minded. Isn't this the remake of the absent-minded?
and that's how you tie it down.
Here's the problem you're facing with. You have a 90-minute family film. It's a 90-minute family film.
Again,
you don't have the time to. This is a family film. Now, I'm not saying this is greatest hits since sliced bread. I won't say that. But what I'm saying is that for what they're giving us, the story they're trying to tell, the love story is not necessarily the integral focus of this film. Yes, it's important.
No, but when we're talking about ranking, though, that does matter. It does matter that the fact that when we're comparing these films, the fact that something takes you out of the movie, this is the same argument we were having with Dracula. The fact that if something takes you out of a movie pretty consistently, that does matter.
It doesn't take me out.
How does that take you out? It doesn't take me out.
I think it's fine to hear it. C is fine.
No, and then all the stuff with Robin Williams being Robin Williams and doing what Robin Williams does.
Yes, fantastic.
That's what makes this so much fun, so enjoyable. The CG work, they did a good job giving personality to the flubber and the design. But again, the translucency on that is very difficult to do. It's not easy.
Right.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. But let's scroll down a bit. There was another one that makes
I'm just a huge sucker for Robin Williams, so
but
you can do no wrong in that book.
There was another one that I saw on there that makes me very.
Yes, we can maybe do like one or two more.
Scroll down. I'm trying to figure out what one it was. Ooh,
you can see some of that.
I think this is a good one to end off on. Same. Okay. We gotta end on this. The Birdcage. Let's talk the Birdcage.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay. So actually, to me, this is. If it's not going to be S, to me, this has to be at the very least A. Because
I've only seen it once, and it was like right when it came out, and I have not seen it since. So
speaking I remember of Robin Williams train, like to me, this film, I wish that Nathan Lane and Robin Williams were in more movies together. They are just fantastic. I love this movie. It's not C. It's not C. The character dynamics. Gene Hackman is great as like conservative politician. The kind of like, as I said, how it's unapologetically just like embraces like LGBT and like all that. And being yourself. I'm sorry. To me, I love this movie. I love every time I watch it. As I said, Nathan Lane and Robin Williams, I wish they were in more movies together.
I love this film so much. In fact, I quote his fussy Martha Graham. I quote that all the time. That's just Robin Williams being Robin, and this is
Madonna.
Michael Kidd, Madonna. Inside. Like I love this. It's so great. And here's the thing: Robin Williams plays kind of the straight on this too, and yet he's still funny as the straight man.
Yes,
and I adore it. And the supporting cast in this: Gene Hackman.
Yes,
How in the world Gene Hackman isn't losing his mind in this?
Right.
I have no idea. Christine Baranski, who
crazy.
Yeah, Baranski playing the mother here, and she's not over the top again.
Yes,
the over the top comes from two people. It's Nathan Lane and The Simpsons. Help me.
Hank Azaria.
Azaria, thank you.
Hank
Hank
Azaria, there you
Azaria in this is just so great.
Oh, it's so great. I love
Yeah.
this. To me, this is said A
So-
tier. This is A tier for if it's not going to be S,
The A-
it's gonna be A.
Okay, you know what? I'm with you.
I can go either way. I mean, I'm split.
As a comedy, I'm
It
with
is
you.
it's a very good comedy. If Daughter of the Bride is here, then I think Birdcage should also be here.
Yes, S tier comedy. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, it is.
You're
Is it an
gonna be
S tier comedy, you think?
Yeah, I think the problem is you're going to be hard pressed to find comedies in general that are also really good films.
Yeah,
Right, do you think it's better than Father of the Bride?
Sacrifice a
How does
lot
it compare
for the sake
there?
of the laugh.
to me, it's better than A Star Is Born. Believe it or not, like to me, it's like it is an
I would
S.
agree.
It's an S tier comedy to me.
It's
Like
quotable more. It's quotable more. It
Yes.
has more memorable scenes. The character work
true.
is fantastic.
look, talking about going back to Gene Hackman, and you kind of touched at it. The way he subtly is losing his mind over everything that's going on and the predicament that like he founds himself, and when he realizes he has to escape and has to put on drag and like I
It's
that to me
honestly,
And we do need a comedy in the S tier, I feel like. So like I'd be okay putting it there.
It is an S tier. It is an S
I
tier.
mean, at the bottom of S tier,
It's not.
It has potential to maybe move back to A, maybe but it might
this
stick.
is a flip for me between, if you remember Meet the Parents, it's kind of
Yes.
that flip where you Robert De Niro, you wouldn't have expected him in a comedy to do great. You
Yeah.
wouldn't have. And then
Yeah.
it worked. In this one, it's the straight man, but again, Gene Hackman, you don't expect in a comedy, and it really works.
Yes,
Yeah, it really works.
he's brilliant in this film. Just
Yeah.
although like him
He
as
goes
well.
on to Royal Tenenbaums, which is another
Yeah.
genius film.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman's got the comedic chops, and he doesn't do it enough.
Right.
Even like you can look at his Lex Luthor and Superman. He's funny. Like he has some pretty good, solid one-liners. Like it's not because it's Lex Luthor and it's not your typical Lex Luthor kind of portrayal. I get why people are not necessarily as big a fan of what he did there, but like comedy-wise, his Superman, at least in Superman 1, and even like a little bit in Superman 2, like when he portrays Superman and then Superman knew he was going to betray him, like, oh no, of course I knew that you were, I did that on purpose. Like we really had them, didn't we? Yeah.
Right. Yep.
It was always there, like in the kind of periphery that you could see that like he could do something like this, but it really comes across in this film.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. So, but yeah, I think we'll probably call it good for this week. We'll see how much we can get through next week, and I want to by part 3 actually make a definitive top 10. So whatever we have to do to make a definitive top 10.
We may have to cut down on the amount of films that are in here because
we're not going to get through all of these. I don't think so. We're not.
Yeah.
But
no.
Come hell or high water, we're going to have a list next week.
We'll have a list next week for sure. But yeah,
all right. Sounds like a plan.
And that we'll definitely have a list, and then what we're talking about for next one, I'm super excited.
Is it the Disney list?
Yeah.
Disney. We're crossing the streams, buddy. We're gonna cross the streams.
Let me tell you,
Disney/Pixar.
I did this, and I'm bowing out because of what I did before. I did this for someone where we just ranked all of the Disney animated features.
It's Disney and Pixar.
I know. We went for the Disney Animation Studios, just those films. And I broke it down, like I created 8 different categories for each film. I ranked them 1 to 5, each, objectively as their own. I watched all the films up to that point and then ranked them in order. And I went too far on this. And let me tell you, because what'll happen is we will get to a discussion about the Little Mermaid, and I'll lose my mind. I hate it so bad.
I have it.
Oh, you don't like it?
I have a. I have a.
Little
I
Mermaid.
want to. You should,
Oh.
Chris. Don't.
At
Similar
least
to
the
me,
music is incredible.
similar to me of King of the Mountain. Don't bow out. Don't bow out.
Nobody asked
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Don't bow out. Don't bow out of this, please.
All
Please,
right.
please
I
stay
guess
on for this because
see-
I also have a
You
controversial
need the back and forth. You
opinion.
guys kind of got the good back and forth going. Come on.
I'll give it to you.
I also am. Little Mermaid is not my favorite, and I have a controversial opinion about in a lot of people's eyes, a well-regarded Pixar film that I just hate.
Yeah, there's actually a couple actually one that I have not seen, which I want to watch before next week. I've not seen Ratatouille, so I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I have not seen it.
Ratatouille is
I
amazing.
gotta watch it before
That's
we
not
do
the
that
one
one.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
here.
Ratatouille's upper tier of Pixar, no question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's S tier, definitely S tier. But
Yeah.
to me, I have controversial opinions about Toy Story 4 because that's my favorite Toy Story movie.
Oh.
And then
Toy Story
we'll get
3.
into that later. We'll get into that when we finally do that, like a couple weeks from now. And then
Yep.
Finding Nemo, yuck. Okay, so next time.
Ooh.
Oh hell no!
I told you that was the
No, you didn't.
that's the well-regarded Pixar film I was referring to.
Alright.
But I have my reasons for it. But it missed me as a child. That was the one I never saw in theaters. And
Where do the people find you?
where can they find me?
Yeah.
They can find me at JD Domash. The J and 2Ds are capital on Twitter. Last night I was on Action Industries General Debate, so you can find that on their Action Industries channel.
Yeah,
And
check that
I
out.
dipped my toe into the fan leagues a couple of weeks ago, and safe to say I'm pretty hooked. So look up for updates on my Twitter feed about that. That's
Awesome.
it. And till next time, see you at Cinema Italiano.
All right. Sounds good. And then Chris, where can the people find you?
On Twitter, on Twitch at Ingle INGLE 1984. I love to do RPG video games on Twitch when I can. I need to get back into it. It's been a while. And you will also find me on Riley and Video Drew's Patreon regularly if you're part of those communities. So hop on in and come have some fun.
All right, awesome. And you can find me, of course, all over this movie hero channel. We got another show called Blind Spot. So we're going to be filming one within a couple of days on the movie Onward, and then after that we're doing the movie Taxi Driver. So those are two I've never seen before. Well, I just watched Onward for that episode, but I still have yet to watch Taxi Driver. That's on my list. So we're going to be talking about those two, and then I've been doing some one-on-one interviews. I kind of started with some family and friends, and I got this list that I came up with of 200 questions, and we just go for 2 hours, and we kind of do semi-rapid fire, just a deep dive into people's life. So I want to eventually expand it into the Schmodown community and just people that are just part of all these cool channels, and kind of interview them and let people get a little more insight into their personal life a little bit. And then also I dipped my toe into the fan league as well. I did Titan Trivia, and I was a little a little overwhelmed by the amount of pre-1970 categories that they had, because that's definitely not my forte. Anything after that, I'm great with, but I definitely am going to be a part of that too. So yeah, you can find me there. So this has been a lot of fun. So I'm gonna just bring up our little outro. But so this has been Chris and JD, and then Carl and Chris obviously had to jump off early, and I've been Jordan Movie Hero Anderson, and this has been Tier Ranker Fights. We'll see you next time.